Hey yo, what's up? Char, let's jump right into it, right into it, right into it. Stay with us for a little while. We'll be right back with y'all. Let's go. All right, what's up, YouTube? It's your girl Shar. Y'all know what time it is. Hit that like button, turn your notification on, and subscribe to the channel because I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Listen, y'all make it do what it do, what it do, what it do, and remember to speak when you walk on in the chat because ain't nobody sleep with you last night. If you aren't following me on any forms of social media, go ahead and follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X, and even now Patreon at Shar's Reality number 6. If you haven't had a chance to follow my backup page, please do at Shar's Reality Family. This is not a chat for children, so if you are a child, I'm sorry, you got to exit stage left. Hello to all my newcomers, flip-floppers, and day ones. What's up? And la-di-da-di to everybody. All right, all right, all right. We did enough of accolades. Let's jump into it. I know by now we should be tired of talking about Kenya Moore, but it's the gift that just keeps on giving. It's a situation that's just not going to blow over like we would like it to. And I think that's the hard part for Kenya to swallow. Okay. And like I said yesterday, and I'll say it again, she's definitely looking for somebody to out or to blame rather than herself. This is nobody's fault but her own. Do I think that they should have both been punished? Yeah, absolutely. But everybody stand on their own actions. Britt did what she did and Kenya did what she did. And at the end of the day, it's not the time for you to point the fingers at your friends. But, it's Kenya we talking about. So what more can we say? Okay. At the end of the day, this is the time you're probably going to need your friends. You're going to need your friends to embrace you. You're going to need your friends to come and say, hey, sis, you know what? I appreciate friends that turn around and smack our hands every now and then, or friends that be like, nah, sis, you was wrong as hell. You was on some bull. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate friends like that. I definitely don't want and do not enjoy friends that pacify my wrong behavior. Be a friend that will correct me when I'm wrong and celebrate me when I'm right. So I don't know what's up with this grown folks wanting people to give them a pat on the back when they deserve an A whooping, baby. No, no, thank you. What you really need is something your mama should have gave you a long time ago. Okay. I'm not here to pat you on the back. I'm here to tell you your behavior was disgusting. Okay. I'm here to tell you that you probably should have thought that thing through. Okay. And I'm here to tell you I'm not your problem. Okay. And I think we need to normalize that and tell our friends when they're wrong. So this is what Cynthia Bailey, I guess, apparently did, and Kenya hates it. Okay, Kenya do not like it. Kenya got a problem with it. Kenya probably even, like literally wrote her off. Okay. And Cynthia is now speaking out about it. Okay. Now she's not going on a whole press tour speaking out about it. She was asked a question and she responded to it. And I still feel like she gave you grace and mercy in her response because she could have dog walked you, right? As you continue to poke at her online, reposting clips, just ignorant things, right? And if you guys are deeming yourself as friends, there's just certain things I just don't think that we should go or what extreme we should go to, right? But who am I? I'm just Shar, okay? And I'm just reporting the news, okay? So at the end of the day, like I said, Cynthia is now speaking out about that. We are going to break in between because we don't want no issues, but we doing a couple researches. Okay, we going over it and we are using this content under the Copyright Act 107. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna stop. We're gonna pause. We're gonna stop. We're gonna pause because we don't want no problem. We're working hard over here. As a matter of fact, we're working overtime. What's up to everybody that's coming in? Go ahead and hit that like button and you might as well pop out the bushes and say hello. Okay, because I would love to say hello back to you. That's the way you start your morning, your afternoon, or your night. Whatever part of the world you're in, that is how you do it, honey. That is how you do it. But like I said, if you come in now or later, please hit that like button, subscribe, share the live so that people can know that I'm over here doing some amazing things. All right. And that's what I'm encouraging. Oh, let's jump into it. So again, Cynthia is speaking out about Kenya actions towards Brit. Okay. It's not like she went on a whole press run talking about Kenya, which we know Kenya going to be here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, saying that, she wasn't a friend because she shouldn't have talked about it. You know what's coming, right? But let's be fair. She's asked about it, so she's addressing it. And when she said that she didn't want to go deep into details because she didn't want to mess up anything more than what it was already messed up. Okay. Hey, Miss Cheryl, what's up, boo? What's up? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. So, like I said, this is a mess, guys. This is a mess. And I know that by now, Kenya should want to hide up under somebody's table, somebody's chair, in somebody's closet because her name is just all over the place. And unfortunately, it's just not good. Okay. So let's jump into it. We are going to break in between, like I said. So just be ready for the pauses. Okay. Let's go. Images that Kenya displayed. What was your initial reaction to that? And shout out to Carlos King. Oop. Hold on, guys.
I was shocked, not because of what was happening. I was shocked because of how it was put together. Like I always, Kenya, as I've said all week. And by the way, I'm tired of talking about it, but I'm gonna talk about it one more time. And I feel comfortable talking to you about it because you know Kenya and you know me and you know our relationship and you know the show and you know how this thing works. So what I saw was I figured it's not a surprise that Kenya would do something. I just didn't think number one she would do anything at the salon because I really thought it was just really that's where the focus was that day. But yeah, did I think she was going to get a lick back or do something at some point? Yeah, but I know how smart and strategic she is. So I figured whatever it was going to be something that would not hurt her. And I felt like what she did, was humiliating for Brett, but it ultimately hurt Kenya to do it. And that's what I was confused about, her not making a better decision to how she wanted to respond, because I'm never going to invalidate Kenya's feelings. And it's very interesting that I would be the person put in the hot seat to even speak on this, because I actually was the only one that wasn't at the bank for Angela's thing.
Now, let me say this before we go on. Kenya definitely could have gotten her lick back at another time. I don't believe that you would be so pressed. So that's how we know what Britt said to her definitely got under her skin, okay? She didn't care if she sabotaged her own event to get back at Britt. Most people would have thought that through a little bit more, but Kenya was not in a position to do so. You know what I mean? So that's what sucks about this whole thing, that she did it at her event and took the focus off of something so precious she's been working for a long time on. It was just nasty, right? So I agree. She could have did it anywhere. Why did you pick your own event? That was stupid, okay? But let's continue to listen.
So I didn't see the whole Brit side. I can only really speak to, I saw it with everyone else on, I didn't see it in person, is what I'm saying.
Right,
and it's very different. Like, you guys see a very edited clip version of what the bottom line is, what happened. But had I been in person, I could have seen the buildup. I could have just had a little bit more perspective, just in terms of like what actually happened to even get Britt in that parking lot to even talk about a gun. And I was not privy to that. And for whatever reason, people keep forgetting this week. They're forgetting that I'm not a housewife. I'm a friend of the show, so I'm not always around these girls. I'm not in a lot of those different scenes where these girls are building their relationships.
I think because the audience trusts you, they want to know your.
Now, let me say this. She's speaking of the time where Britt, threatened Kenya. She was going to get her pistols and her whips and all of those things. She's saying that she was the only one that, went and tried to, get Kenya and all of those things. She's saying she wasn't privy to the prior to incident. Okay. And remember her position on the show. She does not stand as a full-time housewife. She's only a friend of the show. So cut her some slack, basically. Okay, guys, let's continue to listen.
But I think what was a disservice is that you weren't there for both sides. Yeah. And so her only perspective, and I think, and actually that's my question for you, and I don't want to interrupt because I want to keep going, but like, as a producer, why would Cynthia be why would her opinion be the most important if she wasn't there for both sides when everyone else was? I'm very curious about that as a producer. Keep going, sorry.
All right. And I think I might have an answer for that. But in any case, I stand on the fact that I don't think this was Kenya's best moment. I think that, again, I would never invalidate her feelings. Whatever she was feeling, she's entitled to her feelings. She's entitled to her get back, her lick back, all of the things. I just wish she had thought it out a little bit more, because it really, like, nobody left there talking about Kenya Moore hair care.
That's right.
About what happened.
I'm going to give you this designer bag if you can prove to me that you know your finances.
Let's do it.
How many subscriptions do you have? Probably.
Okay, these ads are driving me crazy. But like she said, Kenya did not think it through, okay? She got what she got because she didn't give it thought. And this was not Kenya's best move, okay? But I also think that Kenya was going through something, guys. I really believe that. It's not an excuse for her or a pass for her to do what she did, but I think her mind was so filled, okay, that she wasn't able to really, really, really put it together and in perspective. What does this mean long term for me? Okay, I really, really believe that. So let's continue to listen.
And to follow you, but to answer Crystal's question, I agree with you. I think the audience looks at Cynthia Bailey as somebody they can trust in terms of like her history on the show as being somebody who had to have uncomfortable conversations and really struggled with not making sure those conversations ruin the friendship. Because what people don't know is this. On these reality shows, the person on the receiving end of the critique.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit, guys.
Let me see, the block is high. Right now. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what the temperature is. And the Lord put me on a flight to LA. So literally when the show was on, I was on a plane headed here to do this and a number of other things that we have going on. And when I said the plane didn't have Wi-Fi or nothing, when I said the Lord would not let me see what was going on, I was just like, let me just see what they're saying on social media. Could not do it. Didn't know anything until I landed. But when I tell you I was dying, Carlos, I was dying. But when I did get on there, what I did see was people saying, oh, well, you know, if you were her friend, you wouldn't have like checked her in that moment. You would have told her privately. Now, Carlos, you know damn well, had I did it privately off camera, first of all, that doesn't even count because if the fans don't see it in their mind, it didn't happen. It never happened. So I'm not an idiot. I've been on the show for a long time, well over a decade. So I know the off-camera thing doesn't really work. Okay, it happened in the moment. If it happens on camera, I say it on camera, and that's a lesson that I will tell any new housewife. Say that shit on camera if it happens on camera. Don't go for the old banana tailpipe. We keep saying that, but I don't even know what the banana tailpipe means. But don't go for it. That's where it came from. Don't go for the banana or peach. Don't go for the peach in the tailpipe. Situation. But do you think had I did it off camera and after the event, when it all came to a head, do you think the fans then would have said, oh, well, if you were a real friend, you would have said it in the moment. You would have told her right then, a real friend. Yes. Like, it was like I couldn't win for losing.
And that's why you have to do in the moment what works for you.
That's right.
You can always stand behind it. And I know you on a personal level and a professional level. Your intention is to never try to embarrass somebody on purpose on camera. You've never been that way.
I don't want no smoke. I know. Period. Like, I was sitting there, like, literally watching this whole thing go down. Like, is there a way I can just somehow become invisible and slide up out of here? Can I slide into these flowers and not ever have to really deal with this? Because you know I hate confrontation. One of the most uncomfortable things you can do on a platform like this is have to go against somebody that you're actually friends with. Like, it's okay to go against the ones that you actually don't have any emotional attachment to. You know what I'm saying? But like Kenya's someone, I don't want to see this girl lose. I don't. And Kenya and I've had our ups and downs because I saw that came up as well. You know, oh well, you know, they haven't been the same since the girls' trip. And we didn't talk for 2 years after the girls' trip.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
So wait. Because Claudia Jordan said on my Monday Night Live YouTube show. Did you see it?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And let's be clear, just because you aren't in a great place with somebody doesn't mean that you still can't give your opinion on something because you aren't on a great place, okay? And like I said, Kenya is in a place where she's very vulnerable and she don't want to really hear much from anybody. So that's why she's taking everything personal. I don't think this is personal attack on Kenya, especially not coming from Cynthia. But let's continue to listen.
Okay, so let me just update.
No, I just wanted to and what Claudia said, I didn't have an issue with what Claudia said because Claudia has her own relationship with Kenya. She has a relationship with me. You know, we don't talk. You know, I never call Claudia and say, hey, let me tell you about what's going to be in Kenya. Now, if she calls me and say, hey, what happened with whatever, I feel comfortable saying, hey, this is what happened. And then she can call Kenya after and Kenya tell her, this is what happened. We did not talk for a very long time after that trip, which gave me one time and space to move on, to like heal whatever we were going through. And that was really important for me. And I think for her as well, because I will say in Kenya's defense, you know, I was the one that I didn't want, like I needed a minute because I did not feel like I was protected as a friend in that situation. And I don't even want to get into the girls' trip. I literally didn't even watch it because I was so hurt by that whole trip. Because
and you see how she's saying like she needed a moment? She really thoroughly thought it through. If she probably would have approached or talked to Kenya any earlier after that girls' trip, it probably would have been a knockout, drag out. But she's saying that I just needed a minute. And by us not having that conversation right away, it allowed me to really dissect a couple things, okay, and digest those things. So I can appreciate the moment, right?
Oh, it was like a whole thing. But anyway, and out of respect for my relationship with Kenya, I'm not going to say too much, but I will say we took the time and the space away from each other off camera. So when I decided, And it was right around the time that I actually ran into Kenya in person, because I literally didn't even see her anymore, because at that point I wasn't even shooting on the show. And if you're not shooting on the show with people, you really actually don't have to see them unless you choose to see them at that point, because you don't work with them anymore. And I actually ran into her at Teresa Giudice's wedding. And were you there?
I wasn't invited.
Not you weren't invited.
Teresa apologized. She said she forgot.
Oh my.
Just like
okay, don't even get me
just
started.
Crystal, just like Cynthia Bailey.
Oh my God. And were you mad at her? And how long were you mad at her? Because
all right, I'm going to fast forward this part because they're going to start talking about him not being invited to Cynthia Bailey's wedding and how she's so apologetic for it. I believe it all. I just not interested in this part. So let me fast forward a little bit, okay, guys? But like I said, you don't owe anybody anything. But when you're on national TV, it's really, really, really important that you think things through and just don't act off of emotions, okay? Does that make sense?
It's
like Crystal was here for it. But what I said to her is, and she said this to me, and Teresa said this to me, and I said this back to them. They both said it's literally like an out of sight, out of mind situation.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't.
No, it's so true.
No,
I'm so glad she said that, because people at that point, a lot of people can come because it was we did it during COVID.
Friendship is not predicated on the wedding invite.
Yeah,
I'm not that person, or that with Teresa. And going back to you in Kenya, I did one ultimate girls trip.
Let me just say, I did not realize that they were talking about this wedding this long. It seemed like forever, but I'm fast forwarding. If you guys are just joining, I'm fast forwarding past her talking about her being apologetic to Carlos about not inviting him to the wedding. Okay. All right, let's go.
You're right. We didn't see everything, and I don't want you to have to deal with anything that can cause a.
No, I don't want to start another fire.
I'm going to leave that alone. What I would like for you to address, if you're comfortable,
okay,
is Kenya did retweet a moment Nene Leakes talked about you going where the wind blows when it comes to friendships, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but pretty much not being everyone's friend. I'm sorry, being everybody's friend, not standing for your true friend. When you saw Kenya retweet that, did that hurt your feelings?
Of course. I mean, like I said, I haven't spoken to her since the whole incident happened, but not because I haven't, reached out to her. I reached out to her during that time, but at this point in the friendship, we've had our ups and downs. I respect people's space and their time. I'm not getting ready to run Kenya down to try to make.
I know that's right.
Any kind of amends with her, because I didn't do anything to Kenya.
That's right.
To the salon opening to support her, and I was disappointed in how she handled the situation, because again, I literally was just I had maybe been in a group situation with Britt twice. I didn't know Britt, so I wasn't emotionally invested. I could care less how I wasn't concerned with protecting Britt because I didn't know her.
That's right.
And again, as a friend of the show, the filming that they did, I wasn't even around them that much at that point. But I knew Kenya, and that's why I said I know you. I wasn't there. I'm not saying that what she did, and I've said 155 times, what Britt did was wrong. She should have never
Joe.
brought up a gun. You know what I'm saying? And what I also think is interesting is that I am the only one that said anything to her in that moment, but all the ladies walked out. And she doesn't seem to have an issue with them now. I think she still speaks to whoever she feels like speaking to, with the rest of the cast that clearly didn't support it, clearly thought it was, beneath her, or whatever their own terminology.
Now, let me be clear. I believe that Kenya picks and chooses who she want to be mad at and who she feel like is the weakest link. So right now in this season, I feel like, okay, Cynthia is a friend of the show, so it's easier to pick her. Like, I'm mad at you because you were supposed to be my friend. Everybody got up, walked out, and everybody showed that they were not in agreement with her behavior or her tactic, okay? So why did you just pick Cynthia? If you're mad at anybody, be mad at everybody, okay? So I definitely agree that Kenya was definitely looking for somebody to blame. But like I said, in all of this, she could blame herself for all of this because she could have did it a better way and at a later time. Point blank, period. Okay. So let's continue to listen.
apology is. But I don't know. I feel like I still have seen her with some of those ladies. I sat right there and watched those same ladies in their interviews and say how they felt about the situation. So I don't know if she's, upset with them now. I don't know why all of a sudden, because she made the decision that she made, that it's a thing between Kenya and I. Regardless of what happened on Girls Trip, however long it took us to get back, if Kenya and I were the best of friends, let me be very clear when I say this, I would still have the same reaction. If Kenya and I had never fallen out in our lives, I would have still had the same reaction at the salon. I was disappointed in my friend. I did not want, how long I've been hearing about Kenya Moore hair care? You know how much blood, sweat, and tears that woman has put into trying to put that vision together for herself and for Brooklyn? And to see it be overshadowed by something that she could have got Britt way down the line. Kenya's been doing this for a long time. She could have got Britt. We were headed to Jacksonville, Grenada. She could have got Britt another day, So it just is upsetting that people are so focused on stuff that doesn't even make sense at this point. And then even bringing Nene into it. I'm in a great place with Nene. I just talked to Nene a couple of weeks ago. She asked me to do her YouTube show. I don't have no problem with Nene, and I don't have a problem with Kenya. But if Crystal does something that I think is beneath her, that is deplorable, and I can't hold her accountable and tell her that that's how I feel, then I don't want to be friends with Crystal or anybody else. Or the same for you, Carlos. If I read about something and hear about something like Carlos, that's not it. That's not you.
I will say, not to go into detail, I will say you and Peter definitely have taken me aside.
1,000%.
And was like, what we doing?
And let me say this, I'm in agreement. I don't want friends, like I said in the beginning, that's going to tell me, oh, you good, you're not wrong all the time, knowing dang well I was wrong. Nah, I want to be able to tell you, I have one friend that we talk pretty much every day. And let me tell you, when she wrong, I tell her she wrong, and vice versa. I'm wrong, she tell me that I'm wrong. There is no pacifying behavior when you're dealing with adults, okay? So I don't know what's all this. Kenya wants a little slap on the wrist. It's okay, baby doll. No, nobody's doing that in 2025, okay? We're going to call a thing, an ace, and a spade. Take it how you want. It's going to be what it's going to be still. So I can applaud Cynthia for standing on business with Kenya because she needed, okay? All right, let's go.
So I will say,
and that was coming from love and protection, and those moments never left my mouth.
Yeah.
I know, Peter knows, and you know, and that's coming from love and protection. I love my friends. I don't want to ever have to go against my friends. This shit is not fun for me to be like, oh, you think I want to sit there and put on my cute outfit and my hat and sit on Watch What Happens Live and talk about, what happened in that situation? I don't. I want to go back to my hot boyfriend back at Lake Bailey. I want to lay on the phone and kiki with Noel. That's what I want to do. And that's the reason why I came back as a...
Sorry, y'all. These ads are killing me. But like she's saying, she don't like to go against her friends. She's saying it's not fun as Kenya would like us to believe that everybody else is just making fun of her. It's no fun. She just want to enjoy life. But if she has to stand on business, that's what the hell she going to do. Period. Okay? Let's continue to listen. Hold on.
It ain't even about me. I literally caught a stray. I was like, and why isn't anybody else in the hot seat? Why isn't she mad at anybody else?
Because you're a legendary staple to the show, and I think of what Crystal said. I think, listen, you're a legendary staple to the show. You've been on the show since season 3. And what's interesting is, I still go back to say this, you were called boring and all these things, and you have lasted.
Let me go back to flip-flopper. Let me go back to flip-flopper, because that's a trigger. Okay. So I've had a very extensive career. You guys have gotten to know Cynthia the model, Cynthia the reality star, Cynthia now the actress, Cynthia the podcaster, Cynthia the mom, all of the things. Only in this circle of friends, and I have friends like CEOs. I have very, very high level friendships.
And let me pause it here because I want to say, can we just normalize not associating flip-flopping with truth, standing on the line of truth, okay? If me standing with truth associate me with being a flip-flopper, you got the wrong girl, right? So I don't know how we normalize that in our brains, that me telling you the truth makes me a flip-flopper. Because while I'm telling you what I need to tell you, which happens to be the truth, it just happened to side with the person that you consider to be your op. You know what I mean? So let's normalize that, and let's start today, okay? I would appreciate that too. So I'm with Cynthia on this one.
That I've made over the years, to be very, very clear. Only on this platform and this group of women have I ever in my life been called a flip-flop. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, wait, what? And it's just so sad that you can be, with all the stuff that I do, all the things, and I have so many amazing things going on, that your character can be measured by literally a group of women that you were placed with, that you really built friendships with, but really don't even, are still getting to know you in a lot of ways. It's very sad to watch. And then for our own people, and I'm talking about Black folks, because none of my white friends call me flip-flop. They actually live, and then my Chinese friends call me. They live for me. Okay, we're on social media for us to just be so excited to attack each other is just really sad. I ain't saying everybody got a life, but Lord have mercy, can you just measure, like with everything that I do, I am Cynthia Bailey. This is what y'all running with. She's not a villain. Can't nobody view. I mean, if I hear, oh, Cynthia, she's great, she's beautiful inside and out, like I get a lot of love. And the only thing that people can say about me on this show, and this is the Housewives of Atlanta, as Portia would say. These girls have done a lot before the show, during the show, and we're going to do many things after the show. And the only thing that you can say about me is I'm boring and a flip-flopper. Okay, I'll take it.
Take it, baby. Take it. I want to get your POV.
All right. So if you guys want to watch more of that, you can go over to the Carlos King Reality with the King show and watch more of that. I think we heard enough to get an understanding of where Cynthia Bailey stands with it all. And like I said, in a nutshell, she's saying, hey, I'm not your real issue, okay? And I'm telling you the truth, right? What you did was deplorable. What you did was beneath you. And I'm highly disappointed. Then if that's what it is, that's what it's going to be, okay? I called it straight because you didn't like what I said. And that's really what she's saying in a nutshell. And like I said, King and One friends that's always going to pat her on the back and, fix up and patch up her scraped knees. Nobody got time for that. Okay. That takes a lot of time, a lot of energy to always go in and run into your friend's rescue that they purposely or allowed themselves to fall on their own. If you fell and you hit that floor and you hit your head, baby, stay your A down there, because at the end of the day, I'm tired of leaving work to come help you. I'm tired of leaving the kids to come help you. At some point, you're going to have to learn to stop falling, okay? If that makes sense. So it is what it is. I thought Cynthia's response was very mature. I thought it was very honest. And you could tell she's pretty much like in her own lane right now. She really don't want to associate herself with this mess, okay? You can tell Cynthia's like, okay, I'll talk about it because you asking me. But baby, I am living the best life right now. Between my daughter and my new piece of chunk of meat, I'm good, okay? So let's jump in the comment section and talk further. You guys know the rules already. Hit that like button, turn your notification on, and subscribe to the channel. Listen, checkmates, I love you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And don't you let nobody tell you nothing different. Until next time, bye.